Thank you for attending the Operational Services Committee committee meeting. And this is our first meeting in this capacity. So on this committee, we have Councillor Chris Thiessen, Councillor Kevin O'Toole, Mayor Jackie Clayton, and myself as Chair, Wendy Bosch. So we will call the meeting to order. No delegations, and we'll move right into reports. And Mr. Glavin, your service area update, please.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. We'll start off with engineering services. We're currently winding up construction activities right now. 100th Street, north of the Ernie's intersection, is currently receiving line marking, which should be done here by the end of the week, and all lanes will be open. As well as 116th Street pavings currently, was underway yesterday. Should be done by the end of the week, weather permitting. The weather looks good for getting that job completed by the end of the week. So no concerns about any significant construction not being completed this year. Moving on to facilities. Facilities assisted with the successful hosting of the Pinty's Grand Slam of Curling event. They ensured that all electrical requirements were met and that ice plant operations were appropriate for the curling ice. In transportation, all of our equipment is either ready to go or just about to be changed over from summer to winter operations. Our sand has been delivered and stockpiled, as well as our salt. In parks, we're continuing our fall tree planting and pruning projects, and the recent weather has also allowed us to get a few things done that will help us prepare for spring. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Glavin. You're making my job easy today. Holy man. Some questions we have first in the queue, Mayor Clayton, and then Councillor Thiessen.
Thanks, Chair Bosch. Director or Mr. Glavin, could you tell me, do we have a strategy or an approach to monitor construction sites with the light snowfall that fell today? I worry about construction sites being left unsightly, stakes in the ground's going to freeze soon. Do we monitor that? And if the construction sites aren't cleaned up, is there repercussions, or what does that look like?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. Yes, so all of our capital projects have internal project managers assigned to them that do monitor the projects, and upon the completion of the project, they do ensure that things are cleaned up. I know that there are from time to time something does get missed, but we will ensure that we get back to all the projects before the end of the year, as we should have a reprieve from the snow here the rest of the week.
Perfect, thank you.
Councillor Thiessen.
Thanks, Chair Bosch. Thanks for the update, Director Glavin, or Coup Glavin, I guess everything's changing nowadays, and I guess that's the only constant in life. Two questions, one around construction on 108th Street, especially around the Staples Corner and No Frills. How are we doing with those traffic light signals and the work that needs to be done on those?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. I believe they were on site today with the hydrovac trucks preparing for the replacement of those signals. It's not a weather-sensitive project, so they'll be able to complete that work.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And just one more question, if I may. In light of the recent snowfall, perhaps this is you or Ms. Whiteway, what's our snow removal budget currently at for the end of the year, or until the end of the year?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. So right now with snow removal, we are forecasting a deficit, assuming that we do get normal traffic or normal snow patterns. So if we do have, and the reason why that is that we had an abnormal amount of snowfall at the beginning of the year. However, that being said, I believe currently the organization is forecasting to be on budget this year, and I could defer to Ms. Whiteway if she has anything about the organization, but.
Thank you, through Chair Bosch. Just to, I guess, elaborate on, we are actively mitigating altogether at the corporate leadership level how to make sure that we could still come in on budget as an organization by year end, despite extra snow clearing rounds.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Glad to know that you guys are looking after that and keeping that on. And even if we do go into deficit, that's what happens sometimes. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. Councillor Palat.
Thanks, Chair Bosch. Just a question regarding the capital projects that are still ongoing. With it being -1 now and we're still paving, I'm just wondering, are we protected through how we've done our procurement, that if these roads were to fail with the weather we're dealing with? I know the seasons are short here and we're trying to get as much capital projects as we can, but it does concern me when we're paving, when there's this kind of weather happening. So are we protected in any way of doing an inspection at some point to say, hey, this failed because of weather and it's not our problem, it's a third-party contractor? Or can you kind of explain that to me, please?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. Yes, so we do have it built into our contracts that there are warranty periods and there are temperature thresholds for that. So whether or not we accept the pavement to go forward or not. That being said, with temperatures rising over the next couple of days, we should have a window here to complete it with appropriate conditions.
Okay, so if I understand, so the inspection will be done now. Is there a follow-up inspection, say come the spring, where we're making sure it's held up, or a year from now? Is that kind of the process?
Thank you, Chair Bosch. There's a 2-year period where we evaluate it and can call in for warranty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And now, Councillor O'Toole, please.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring up the snow budget. So if we are in a deficit, we'd be coming back to council to borrow money to cover that? Or how are we going to cover that for the end of the year?
Ms. Whiteway.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. So the deficit that we are potentially expecting for snow clearing, where we are trying to actively offset that throughout the other departments in the organization. If we do end up in a shortfall position by year end, so we'll usually bring that in April with our audit, and we would make a recommendation at that time of how to fund any overall shortfall for the city. So it could potentially be, that's one of the uses for the financial stabilization reserve if it was necessary.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any more questions from anyone? Seeing none. Thank you, Mr. Glavin, for your report. And now we'll move into other business. None. No policy review. And we will look at the outstanding items list right now, please.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. There are no updates to the outstanding items list, and everything's currently on track.
Okay. Councillor Thiessen had his hand up very quickly.
Thank you very much, Chair Bosch. I just move that we approve the outstanding items list as presented.
Councillor Blackmore, you have a comment?
I just have a question for Mr. Glavin before the committee maybe makes that vote. On item number 2, the St. Joe crossing, pedestrian crossing, the composite material that was used for the line painting on that entire street has really dissolved. And I'm wondering, how long do we normally expect that composite material to last? Because I think that that's probably about 20 years old there. And would we replace all of it, or would we move to line painting instead? Or like, I don't know what the process is for replacing composite striping.
Thank you, Chair Bosch. I'd have to confirm with the group exactly what the interval is for, because it depends on the traffic of the area, the quality of the job, how often those thermoplastic lines would get replaced in that area. So I don't have a good answer off the top of my head, but it's something we could certainly put in the report when we bring that back, or I could circulate to committee.
If I remember right, I think that report included all aspects of that crosswalk, correct? You're talking the street. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Glavin, if you would attach it to the report or in-house, whichever works better. And again, we have a motion on the table. I called the question. Thank you, everyone. That is passed, and I adjourn this meeting.